Hi, good morning. Hope all of you are fine. Just recall what we have learned in our linear algebra. We have discussed the definition of vector spaces, some examples of vector spaces, linear combination of vectors, linear span of vectors, okay, and subspace of a vector space, etc. Now we are moving to our next section, basis and dimension. Okay. Before going to the definition of basis, we will discuss what you mean by a linearly dependent set. Okay. Now let V be a vector space over the field F. A subset S of V is said to be linearly dependent, or you can call simply dependent, if there exist distinct vectors alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. alpha n in S and scalars C1, C2, etc. Cn in F, not all of which are 0. Underline this line. Not all of which are 0, such that C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 plus etc. plus Cn alpha n is equal to 0. Then we call S is linearly dependent. Okay. S is linearly dependent if there exist vectors alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. alpha n in S and scalars C1, C2, etc. Cn in F, not all 0, such that there is some linear combination C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 plus etc. plus Cn alpha n is equal to 0. Clear? Suppose a set is not linearly dependent, that is, this condition not hold, then we call that set is linearly independent. Okay, this is the definition of, it's called linearly independent. Now what about a linearly independent set? Linearly dependent means you can find alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. alpha n and scalar C1 alpha 2, C1, C2, etc. Cn not all 0, such that this linear combination equal to 0. Now what about linearly independent? It's not linearly dependent. That means if you take any alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. alpha n and C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 plus etc. plus Cn alpha n is equal to 0 implies Ci equal to 0 for every I. Okay. Suppose our set S consists of only finite number of elements alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. alpha n. Then for instead of saying S is linearly dependent or independent, we call alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. alpha n is linearly dependent or linearly independent. Okay. From the definition, we get a set alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. alpha n is linearly independent if C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 plus etc. plus Cn alpha n is equal to 0 implies Ci equal to 0 for every I. So similarly, if a set alpha 1, alpha 2 is linearly dependent if C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 plus etc. plus Cn alpha n equal to 0 implies Ci not equal to 0 for some I. Okay, this equal to 0 implies Ci equal to 0 for every I implies that set is linearly independent. If there is some Ci not equal to 0, then that set is linearly dependent. Okay. Now the next note is any set which contains a linearly dependent set is linearly dependent. Okay. If a subset of a set is linearly dependent, then that set is also a linearly dependent set. Now the second property, any subset of a linearly independent set is linearly independent. Okay. If a set is linearly independent, then every subset of that set is also linearly independent. Using this one, suppose some subset is linearly dependent, using this any set which contains a linearly dependent set is linearly dependent, but here we are taking set is linearly independent. Okay. Now the third property, any set which contains 0 vector is linearly dependent. Any set which contains 0 vector is linearly dependent. Why? The next one, any set which contains 0 vector is linearly dependent. Why? Suppose there is some set alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. alpha n, some alpha i's is 0. Then if you take coefficient of that alpha is some non-zero number, say 1, then 1 into 0. If you take all other coefficients are 0 and see coefficient of alpha 1 as 1, alpha 1 is already 0, we get 1 into 0 plus 0 equal to 0. This implies that set is linearly dependent. Now before going to the fourth property, I will explain the third property once again. Suppose S is a set. This contains some vectors alpha 1, alpha 2 and some alpha n. Suppose this is equal to 0. Alpha 1 is equal to 0. Okay. And we have to check whether this set is linearly dependent. If set is linearly dependent, then C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 plus etc. plus Cn alpha n equal to 0 implies some Ci not equal to 0. Okay. Suppose C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 plus etc. plus Cn alpha n is equal to 0. And we have to prove Ci not equal to 0 for some I. This sum is 0. Okay. So if you choose some C1 is equal to 1, then 1 into alpha 1 is already 0 plus and Ci equal to 0 for every I not equal to 1. For all other Ci, for all other I, Ci equal to 0. That is 0 into alpha 2 plus etc. plus 0 into alpha n. Okay. Thus we get the excess. If you take C1 is equal to 1 and all other Ci is equal to 0, we get C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 plus etc. plus Cn alpha n equal to 0. Clearly all Ci not equal to 0. This implies this set is linearly dependent. Okay. Now the fourth property is a set S of vectors is linearly independent if and only if each finite subset of S is linearly independent. Okay. If you take any finite subset of S, then that must be linearly independent. That is if and only if you take any distinct vectors alpha 1, alpha 2 etc. alpha n in S, C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 plus etc. plus Cn alpha n equal to 0 implies Ci equal to 0 for every I. Then only we call this set is okay for every I. Okay, that means if S is a set of vectors, then that set is linearly independent. If you take any finite subset containing alpha 1, alpha 2 etc. alpha n, then that set is linearly independent. Okay. Now moving to the definition of basis. Now let V be a vector space. A basis for V is a linearly independent set of vectors in V which spans the space V. Okay. Let V be a vector space. A basis for V is a linearly independent set of vectors in V which spans the space V. What's the meaning of that? You must find a basis means that must be a linearly independent set. Okay, that means if you take any vectors alpha 1, alpha 2 etc. alpha n in B, then C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 plus etc. plus Cn alpha n equal to 0 implies Ci equal to 0 for every I. Okay. Now the next condition is that set spans V. Now what is the meaning of that? That B is the intersection of all subspaces of V. That space spans spans the space V means V is the intersection of all subspaces of V containing B, or V is the set of all linear combination of vectors in B. Okay. Now if the number of elements in that basis is finite, then we call the space V is a finite dimensional vector space. Okay, the space V is said to be finite dimensional if it has a finite basis. Finite basis means number of elements in the basis is finite. Okay. Now we are going to prove one problem. Let F be a field and consider Fn. Okay, and S be the subset of Fn. Fn means set of all n tuples. Okay, and consider a subset of Fn consisting of the vectors E1, E2 etc. En defined like this. E1 means first entry 1, all other entries 0. E2 means second entry 1, all other entries 0 etc. En is equal to etc. Okay. Now we have to prove that this form S form a basis for Fn. Okay, and such a basis is called standard basis. Okay, so to prove this S is a basis for Fn, we have to show that this set is linearly independent. Then we have to show that this set spans Fn. Okay, first we prove S is linearly independent. Okay, so what about S? S consists of vectors e1, e2, etc., en. We have to prove this set is linearly independent. So suppose C1, C2, etc., Cn be scalars in F such that C1 E1 plus C2 E2 plus etc. plus E1 plus C2 E2 plus etc. plus Cn En equal to 0. Okay. We have to prove this implies each Ci equal to 0. Then we get S is linearly independent. Okay. Now what about this one? This is actually C1 into what about E1? 1, 0, 0, etc. 0 plus C2 0, 1, 0, etc. 0 plus Cn 0, 0, etc. up to 1. And this is equal to 0. 0 vector in Fn. That means this is also 0, 0, etc. 0. Now what about this one? C1 into C1 0, 0, etc. 0 plus this is 0, C2 0, etc. 0 plus here actually etc. etc. plus 0, 0, etc. Cn equal to 0, 0, etc. 0. This implies we get C1 0, 0, 0 plus 0, C2 0, 0, etc. plus 0, etc. Cn equal to 0, 0, 0. Okay, now if you add this, the first coordinate is C1 plus 0, 0, etc. and second coordinate is 0, C2 and third one C3, etc. Cn. This equal to 0, 0, etc. 0. Okay, from this we get C1 equal to 0, C2 equal to 0, etc. Cn equal to 0, equating both sides. Okay, thus we get C1 E1 plus C2 E2 plus etc. plus Cn En equal to 0 implies Ci equal to 0 for every I. That implies the set E1 E2 etc. En is linearly independent. Okay, now we have to prove that set spans the space Fn. Okay, we have to prove S spans Fn. For this you take some alpha belongs to Fn. Fn is set of all n tuple. So alpha is of the form some x1, x2, etc. xn. Okay. Now we have to check whether this is a linear combination of EIs. Okay. Suppose x1, x2, etc. xn is equal to c1 e1 plus c2 e2 plus etc. plus cn en. Okay. If we find values of Ci's, if it is possible to find values of Ci, then that means this alpha is a linear combination of E1, E2, etc. En. Okay, and this is equal to C1 into 1, 0, etc. 0 plus C2 into 0, 1, etc. 0 plus etc. plus Cn into 0, etc. 1. Okay, and final value is similarly, okay, C2, etc. Cn. From this we get x1 is equal to C1. Okay, I am skipping some more steps. We have already written this. Okay, x1 equal to C1, x2 equal to C2, etc. xn is equal to Cn. Okay, that means alpha is actually x1 e1 plus x2 e2 plus etc. plus xn en. But alpha is arbitrary element. Thus we get if alpha is for any for any alpha belongs to Fn, alpha is a linear combination of e1, e2, etc. en. That means the set e1, e2, etc. en spans Fn. Okay, thus we get E1, E2, etc. En or S spans Fn also, that set is linearly independent. Therefore, that form a basis for Fn. Okay, this is called standard basis or usual basis. Okay, usual basis of Fn. Okay, now just revise what we have discussed today. Today we have started our next section, basis and dimension. We have discussed the definition of linearly dependent set and then linearly independent set. Okay, and then some properties. Okay, also we have proved the set E1, E2, etc. En form a basis for Fn. Okay, in the next class we will discuss some other examples of basis. Okay.